Since Quinn joined Gaimin Gladiators in early December of 2022, they've managed to win back-to-back majors as well as a first-place finish at Dream League Season 19. All three events besting Team Liquid in the finals. Sorry, Liquid fans. As the Berlin Major recently wrapped up, I started to become very curious as to why this team is so dominant at the moment, and what can be learned from them. Although there can be lots to learn from analyzing how they play, I noticed a reoccurring theme. Gaimin Gladiators seem to make it a point to make sure Quinn is set up to have the best game he can, allowing him to make space and have high impact in the early to early mid game. What I want to focus on in this video is how Gaimin Gladiators supports, specifically, enable Quinn to have a good game, and how they play around him in the early to early mid game to make plays around the map. My hope is that this will be helpful for support players to make decisions like which one of my cores will win me the game, and what do I have to do to enable that core. The same questions can just as easily be applied to core players. This video is just focused on how Gaimin Gladiators supports do it. Gaimin Gladiators supports dedicate a lot of their time in the laning phase helping Quinn. This involves things like TPing to refill his bottle, rotating to help secure runes, and stacking. A quick note on stacking. During the Berlin Major, Gaimin Gladiators stacked a total of 392 times, and stacked more times than the enemy team in 88% of all of their games, often by a lot. These guys like stacking. Now, let's look at some examples from the Berlin Major that showcase how Seleri and tOfu help out Quinn. In this game versus 9 pandas, tOfu dies top, Quinn's bottle is empty, and the 4-minute water runes are spawning soon. Quinn makes a go on Kiyotaka, which leaves both of them pretty low. tOfu TPs mid to refill Quinn's bottle and helps him secure the water rune. Only a couple minutes later, Seleri comes mid to apply pressure to Kiyotaka and help secure the 6-minute power rune. Seleri ends up feeding, and a little later, Quinn is able to kill Kiyotaka at the cost of his own life. A minute and a half later, both Gaimin Gladiator supports rotate towards mid to help secure the 8-minute power rune, which ends in a 2-for-1 trade in favor of Gaimin Gladiators. Right after tOfu spawns from this, he TPs mid and refills Quinn's bottle, then moves with Seleri to stay in this area and apply pressure to mid with Quinn. That was 2 bottle refills, help securing 1 water rune and 2 power runes, and overall pressure on the enemy mid tower, all within the span of about 4 to 5 minutes. The next example is Game 1 of the Berlin Major Grand Finals versus Liquid. Seleri dies bottom and TPs mid to refill Quinn's bottle. Familiar move? It almost seems like Gaimin Gladiators supports die on purpose around this water rune timing to make this play. This time, Seleri doesn't stick around for the water runes. Instead, he decides to head back bottom to help out Dyrachyo. At 6 minutes, Seleri comes back towards mid to help with the power rune, and tOfu is busy stacking. About a minute later, tOfu is back to stacking, then takes the mid lane while Quinn clears the stacks. tOfu ends up dying this time, but who cares? 3 heroes mid for a kill on a position 4, while Quinn gains a full level and 400 net worth in the jungle. And even better, tOfu can just TP back to refill Quinn's bottle, give him mana, and even salve him. That was 2 bottle refills, help with 1 power rune, stacks for him, and even a salve, all within about 4.5 minutes. So, as you can see, Seleri and tOfu love to keep Quinn topped off on health and mana. This kind of goes into another common theme I noticed in Gaimin Gladiators games. They love to have heroes who can give mana, like KotL, CM, and Io. The idea here is that if they can constantly feed Quinn mana, and even better, health as well, he doesn't need to waste time going to base. He can instead stay out on the map farming, pushing waves, or fighting. And that's exactly what we saw in the previous examples. This works especially well for Quinn's heroes like Pango or Void Spirit, because these heroes have spells that make it really easy to clear camps or waves, but it can be hard to spam these spells without running out of mana quickly. It's a very common move for Gaimin Gladiators to have someone on a support like KotL or Io and constantly feeding mana to Quinn while he clears the jungle. This strat is really interesting because it sort of allows you to play the game faster than you normally would. If you have the resources to do things on the map, you don't have to waste time going back to base for health or mana. Instead, you'll almost always be ready to go from farming stacked camps to making a smoke rotation. Gaimin Gladiator supports often make plays with Quinn around the 10 to 15 minute timing to leverage the good early game that they gave him. Sometimes this is in the form of a smoke rotation right as he gets a key item, or applying pressure to a tower. Here's an example. This is Game 2 versus OG in the upper bracket semifinals of the Berlin Major. Gaimin Gladiator supports head to mid with Quinn to pressure the tower with their 10-minute siege creep. This forces 3 heroes from OG to stay mid and defend. There's a lot of poking from each side, but with good positioning and spell usage, Gaimin Gladiators are able to kill all OG heroes who are defending mid, as well as get the tower. Instead of backing up and spreading out around the map, Seleri and tOfu spend the next few minutes continuing to play behind Quinn, applying lots of pressure and getting pickoffs mid and top. Quinn is Gaimin Gladiator's key to winning at this stage of the game. Quinn just needs a little backup to leverage his good early game and ensure he doesn't throw it away, and that's exactly what Seleri and tOfu offer him. All of this is a lot easier to do in a competitive setting where everyone on your team trusts each other. Unfortunately, that isn't so much the case for pubs with random people. Regardless, I think one thing that can be learned and applied to pub games is recognizing which heroes on your team will win you the game and what you can do to help them do their job. For example, maybe your mid player has a hard matchup, so it can be nice to TP and refill their bottle, or help them secure runes. Or maybe your mid player crushed their lane and they're the strongest hero on the map. They can most likely apply pressure on their own, but playing with them and giving them that little bit of backup if needed can ensure they won't throw away their lead. Sometimes as a support, you'll give your core the perfect early game, and for some reason, they'll make some ridiculous plays and throw the game. But what can you do? That's just unlucky. At least you tried, and for the games where your teammate doesn't throw, you'll be able to set them up for an easy to carry game. And I think that's a great thing that can be taken from how Gaimin Gladiators supports play for their team. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you learned something new with me.